The creation of a video game and graphic novel about a bunny pilot began the same way my husband and I started trying to have a baby, casually. We were playing a Star Wars tabletop game when we devised the character of Captain Rabo. My Rebel Y-Wing ship was pummeling Tim's Imperial fleet of TIE fighters. Every dice roll was coming up in my favor. I land yet another devastating blow, and Tim asks, "Who's flying that Y-Wing?" I thought about it and then said, "It's Captain Rabo." It was based on Tim's nickname for me, Rabbit. You can't see her in the cockpit because she's just a little bunny, but that's her in the pilot's chair. "Well, she needs a booster seat," Tim said. "And flight goggles," I added. "How does she control the ship? Does she have opposable thumbs?" It's a mystery. Every time we played after that, we joked about Captain Rabo. It was just an idea. And so was the concept of getting pregnant when we first started a few years later. Every passing month that didn't culminate in a positive pregnancy test built a little more stress, a little more uncertainty. Everyone told us, "Oh, it'll happen," but it wasn't happening. We started to talk more about Captain Rabo and her world. Tim coined the title Air Hares and decided to start writing it and make it real. We needed something in our lives to go beyond the idea stage to prove to ourselves we could make something happen. Tim began attending indie game developer meetups and conferences, and he decided to make Air Hares into a video game and a comic book. We refined the story. In Air Hares, Captain Rabo Sunskipper finds herself lost and cut off from her former family after an unprecedented storm, the Black Blaze, devastates the land. She meets her companion, Dirk Doggo, and together they form the Air Hares, a crew of small rabbits and other furry mammals who learn to fly remote-control airplanes. From the skies, they must revitalize the carrot crop of Windrose Warren, their new adopted home, and defend its residents against the predatory birds of the Gale Gang. Captain Rabo's world has been upended by natural forces beyond her control. She could give up, but instead she turns to science and technology to find another way. Our real-life story and Captain Rabo's tales were fully entwined by the time Tim sat down to draw a map of the world of Windrose. It's loosely based on the female reproductive system, complete with a nod to my blocked fallopian tubes in the dams of Coney Creek. I would have surgery to remove them before we could start IVF later that year. Captain Rabo doesn't go under the knife, but she does have a fierce determination to make things better, even when they're harder than she thought they would be. When she was young, she lived a cushy life as the pet of a wealthy family. She thought she knew exactly how things would go, and then her circumstances changed drastically. During our first round of IVF, we had a standing appointment every night to administer shots to my abdomen and then go for a walk with our dog Arthur while talking about the latest developments of Air Hares. When I was injecting follistim into my belly to stimulate my ovaries to produce a bunch of eggs, I imagined the 4 realms of Windrose superimposed on my 4 surgical scars. The primary mechanic of the Air Hares game, shooting seeds and water into the carrot field, emulates the fun parts of shoot-'em-up video games without the violence. We were trying to create life, and we didn't want to make a game about death. When the Falcon Goons dive at Captain Rabo, she can dodge them, whack them with her parry maneuver, or shoot seeds to stun them, but that comes at the expense to her seed supply. The connection between Air Hares and our continuing mission to have a child isn't just about the story. Air Hares came to life because we committed to it, just like we had to commit to becoming parents. We wouldn't have adopted our dog if we hadn't been frustrated by IVF delays and looking to expand our family on our own terms. Now Arthur is the model for the character Dirk Doggo, and his personality and antics show up in the story of Air Hares. He's stubborn and fiercely loyal, and simply adorable. We decided to share Air Hares alongside our experience with infertility because we hope that it will resonate with others going through something similar. We also hope that people will simply find fun and joy in the game and story, whether or not they know the history behind it. Air Hares is about bunnies flying airplanes, a delightfully silly idea. It's also about determination and commitment, about how technology and science can lead to a better world, and about caring for one's community. And now, after several years, 3 rounds of IVF, and many hours and dollars poured into Air Hares, we can finally share the game with our son, Kirby. We made Air Hares for our family, and we hope that when it releases next year, you'll share it with yours.